Hello, my friends. Today we're learning Bastro Daf Kuf Lamed Aleph. Before we start, I want to say thank you to Hashem that I went to my travels and Baruch Hashem I came back to Eretz Yisrael all safe and everything worked well. And a lot of gratitude to my wife who was very patient with me and we had a great time. And let's go ahead. Says the Gemara, a line down. Boy Rova. Ubari Aryeh. Ki ka'amar Rabbi Yochanan ben Broike v'shchimra the barusiu al bebori loy oidilma afilu bebori nami. So Rav asked a shaila. We learned that Rabbi Yochanan ben Broike says a chiddush. That what? That Rabbi Yochanan ben Broike says that the person, let's say Yaakov, could say that Shimon, his son, will get the Yerusha that deserves to Levi, he should get it. We learned that he can't give him the Chelik Bechor, but all the rest he could give to one son. So ask Rava, did Rabbi Yochanan ben Broike say this thing only by a Shchidmira, someone who's going to die, then he has the power, then he has the power to give one son more, or even when he's strong and healthy like an ox, he could also give one son more than each other. So says Amalei Rav Mesharshil Rava, Toshma. So Mesharshil brings a raya to Rava from what we're going to learn in a second. So before we learn, we just want to say two dinim that we're going to talk about. One of them is Ksuvas Bolim Dichrin, and one of them is Bonis Nukvois. So the first one is talking about is a din. Let's say Yaakov has two wives, Rachel and Leah. So there is a din that if Yaakov dies, so obviously Rachel and Leah each one gets a ksuva. What happens if the wives die before and only afterwards Yaakov dies? So then the din ksuvas bonim dichrin means that before they split the Yerusha of Yaakov between all his sons, first the sons of Rachel get their ksuva of their mother and they split it between them, and the sons of Leah get their ksuva, and then the rest they split up equally, or the Bechor gets double, etc. So that means that even if the wife died before the husband, so her sons will get the ksuva when the father passes away before they split up the Yerusha. That's one din. And the second din is Bonis Nukvois. Bonis Nukvois is talking about that when someone marries a woman and she has already daughters from marriage before, so the daughters get after the father, if this person dies, so the daughters get from his Yerusha financial support until they get married. So now let's go ahead. Let's bring a raya that the din of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broike not only applies by someone who's going to die, also by someone who's healthy. So Meshashia says, Toshma de'oma lo Rab Nosson Rebbe shonise mishnoseichem k'Rab Yochanan ben Broike odetna lo yikosav lo bonim dichrin v'yahavu le'minoi inu yartin kesek ksuvoisech yoisel chulkoin de'imachoin chayev shetnai bezdin hu. So Rabbi Yochanan, Rab Nosson, who's Rab Nosson Ababdi, we're going to see soon, told Rebbe, who was Mesada the Mishnah, he said, you put a stam Mishnah in Ksuvis like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broike. Why? Because in the Mishnah over there it says that even though that person never promised in the Ksuva to give Ksuvas bonim dichrin, as we explained before, the part of the Ksuva, if a woman dies first before the husband, that when the husband dies, that her kids should get the Ksuva first, and then they split between all the brothers of the Yerusha. Even if it wasn't written, said the Mishnah over there, it's as if it's written. Why? Because it's at Tnai Bezdinu. Now, in the Mishnah over there, it says, Yartun Kesef Ksuvosech. There'll be Yerusha, the money of the ksuva. So says Rav Nosson Ababli to Rebbe, how does that work? How does that work? That the kids could get Yerusha, that the father could give certain kids the Yerusha more than the other kids, because really Me'ekadin, the din should be, the older brother should split the Yerusha equally. And here the father is giving the Chelik of the Ksuva first to specific kids of this woman before the other ones. So that's, who says such a thing that a father could give his sons, one son more Yerusha than the other one? It's Rab Yochanan Breaker. So Reb Nosson came to Rebbe, why did you put the mission over there only if you want shitta? Rebbe answered him, yes, Buntna. We're not going to in the mission over there, Yartun, that these kids will Yerush it. They'll get it as a matana. And everyone agrees, even Chachamim who argues on Rabbi Yochanan Breaker agrees that a father can give a matana to his kids. So he's within matana. And therefore the mission of Ksuvas fits in the Kulam. It doesn't fit in only like Rabbi Yochanan Breaker, it fits in also the Fichachamim because it's Midin Matana. V'omar Rebbe, and afterwards Rebbe said, Yaldus oisobi, I was like a kid, I was childish. V'asti ponai benosan abavli. And I answered them, benosan abavli, I answered that's not true. Why that? Elo, the kaim alone, we know, bonim dichrin, the din of bonim dichrin. That the kids get the ksuva of the mother before the rest of the brothers get Yerusha, loitar from him mishabdi. If the father doesn't have enough nechosim to pay off his ksuva, they could not go to people who bought nechosim from the father before he passed away, after he committed for this ksuvas bonim dichrin. And Isal kedai toch yasbuntnan, and if it's true I'm saying that the mission over there is midin matona, why could these kids not go and take from Mishubodim if the father, Bishas Aksuva, gave them a matana already, and afterwards he sold a piece of land? For sure they could go and be turned from Mishubodim. Why not? The matana comes before the Mechira. Elomai, since we know that the dinner that they can't take from Mishubodim, it must be that the Bonim Dichrin get to be din Yerusha. Like Rav Nosson Ababli says, and who says that Yerusha, a person can give Yerusha to one son more than another? That's Rabbi Yochanan Breaker. So Rav Nosson Ababli was correct that he said that the mission over there fits in like Rabbi Yochanan Breaker only and not like Chachamim. Elo says Rebbe, Shema Mino Yartin, it must be that over there it's Medin Yerusha. And therefore Rav Nosson Ababli's Raya that goes only if Rabbi Yochanan Breaker is correct. Ad kan divrei Rebbe and Rav Nosson Abavli. Says the Gemara, Man Shamas Lady Isla Isvara, who's the shit who holds that you could give Yerusha without the Lashon Matana, Rabbi Yochanan Breaker, V'shma mino afilu bebari. And we can see it's afilu bebari. How do we see that it's afilu bebari? Because when a person is marrying a woman and he's writing her ksuva, he's healthy, he's strong, and afilu he at that point he could give a Yerusha to one son more than the other. So we could see that the din of Rabbi Yochanan Breaker is also by Bura, no, only by Shchimera. So we have a raya to our Shaila. Continues the Gemara. Omani Rav Papa Abaye. So our Papa comes and asks Abaye, we understand the raya they brought is very clear, but he asked the question on this chakla v'tarya between Rav Nosson Abavli and Rebbe. Doesn't matter if the Girsa is Miloshen Matona, the father giving these Ksuvas Bonim different. Doesn't matter if it's Miloshen Yerusha. When this guy is marrying, when Yaakov is marrying Rachel, Yosef and Binyamin were not born yet. Right? And it's Dover Shaloi Ba'olam to give them a Matona. Even if that a person could sell fruit of a palm tree, even that the fruit hasn't grown yet, because it's going to grow, even though it's loy bal olam. That's only the davar she'eshna be'olam. Reuven's makna to Shimon, these fruit that are not bal olam, but Shimon's bal olam. But the davar she'ena be'olam, to be makna to someone who's not in this world, like over here, that you're makna to your son that's not born yet. Loy. For sure not. So how does it work over there? How could he give a Yerusha or Matana to a son who's not born yet? Eloi must be Tnai Besdin. Shiny, it must be over there because this is a kind of Besdin to this Ksuvas Bonim Dichrin. It's not stam someone who wants to give, he gives. It's a Matana Besdin. It's a Tnai Besdin. So therefore, you could be makne, Besdin could do it, and they could be makne even to someone who's not in the world yet. So also, why Rav Nosson Abab is bringing a raya that's if Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika, really, it's not like Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika, it's lefi everyone. All lefi chachamim, you can't give a Yerusha to one side more than each other. No, Tnai Besdin shiny. Like you can be makne to someone who's not Bala Elohim, you could also give a Yerusha when you're not meant to give a Yerusha because it's Tnai Besdin. So what's Rav Nosson Abab is kasha to Rabbi? Amalei Sabaya answered Rav Papa, Mishum de Komapikle Beloshin Yartun. You know what Rav Nosson Ababli is right to Rebbe? If Rebbe would answer that to Rav Nosson Ababli would say, very good, okay, Tnai Besdin and even Chachamim agree that you could do it in such a case. But why do you use a Loshin Yartun, Loshin Yerusha? If you use a Loshin Yerusha, it means it's within Yerusha. And who is the one who holds that you could give more Yerusha to your son, to one son more than each other? It's Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika. So we could see that you're noita after Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika. We could see you passing the Mishnah in Ksuvas like Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika. And that's Rav Nosson Ababli's raya. Hoda Abaye afterwards said, after he thought it over, and he said, Lad Nilsi Damri, it's not true, I'm saying, why not? Ditnan, we learned in the end of the Mishnah over there, the din that we said early on, Loi Kosav Lo Bonam Nukvim. If he never wrote in the Ksuva what he's meant to write in the Ksuva, that female daughters, that you have from me, I had a mistake before I said it's daughters that were born before he got married to her. No, daughters that were born from him. They shall sit in my house. And I'm going to feed them. And the tilak guvrin until they get married. So even if he never wrote that in the Ksuva, this obligation, he's still chayav to feed these daughters. Why? Tnai Besdin. Because it's a Tnai Besdin. Like we said before, like Bonim Tichrin, Bonim Nukva is also Tnai Besdin. So says Abaye, the Abel is Matona, Lecher over here, when he's giving these daughters, it's for sure not B'dim Yerusha, because the daughters doesn't Yarshin B'mokim Achim, and this thing that the daughters get food is even B'mokim Achim. So it's Din Matona. He's giving them a Matona. So the Abel Lezebe Matona, Lezebe Yerusha. So the daughters, the obligation is a Matona. For the sons, it's a Loshen Yerusha. We learned early on that if a person, and we pass like that, there was a bit of a machlokes, but we pass in that if someone gives two people a field, one Beloshen Reuben, he gives them Beloshen Matona, and Shimon, he gives them Beloshen Yerusha, even though that the Beloshen Yerusha should not work, because he gave them Turkey Dibur together, and he promised them together, so we use the Loshen Matona to the Loshen Yerusha, and we say that it works for both, and Afilu Chachamim agree that the Matona you can give, and we apply the Matona also the Loshen Yerusha, and therefore they get both. So therefore the Mishnah over there, where a person promises sons a Yerusha, and his daughters a Matona, so even though that the Yerusha doesn't work for Rabbanon, but because he used a Matona for his daughters, we use a Loshen Matona for the sons as well, and therefore it works for both of them. So therefore, even Chachamim agree over there. So therefore, what's Rav Nosson Abavli saying that the Mishnah over there is only like Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika? Omale Rabbi Nechumi, so Rabbi Nechumi told Abaye, V'istomar Rabbi Chanina bar Menyumi le'Abaye, and some people who say it was Rabbi Chananya, the son of Menyumi, told Abaye, says the Gemara Daf Kuf Lamed Aleph Amud Beis, Mimai the Bechad Beidina Itkun. Why are you so clear that these two takonas of Bonim Zichrin and Bonim Nukvin were metuken in the same Besdin, and it was a din that was created at the same time, and therefore when a person promises a Matona and Yerusha, it's considered Turkey Dibur because the Takana was together, and therefore we apply the Matona to the Yerusha, and therefore you can fit in the Mishnah also Kichachomim. Dilma maybe betrayed Beidina Itkun. Maybe one Bezdin was metakin one Takana, and the other Bezdin was metakin another Takana, and they're not connected to each other, and therefore you can't use the Loshen Matona to the Loshen Yerusha. And therefore, it must, if it works the Yerusha, it must be because Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika, and therefore Rav Nosson Abavli makes sense. On that the Gemara says, don't you know that it says Diktoni Reisha That it says over there, Medrash Dorosh Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah Lefi Chachomim B'Kerem B'Yavne, that when the Sanhedrin sat in Kerem B'Yavne, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah told them, Abonim Yushu v'Abonos Yizoinu. We have two dinim. One din is that the bonus yarshin the ksuva of the mother. The other din is that the father is obligated to support the daughters until they get married. Ma bonim enim yorshim, like the bonim don't get this ksuva elo lacha misa savim, only if the father passes away. Af bonois lo yozoinu elo lacha misa savim. So don't think that this obligation to support the daughters until they get married is when the father's still alive. No, when the father's still alive, he doesn't have to give them a penny. But once he passes away, that's when the obligation starts to support them until they get married, like the bonim dichrin. So we compare these two dinim one to each other. If you're going to say Bechad Beidini Itkun, that one Beis Din was attacking both of these takonas, Ein the Alfinen takona mit takona, it makes sense to say that these both takonas are similar, and therefore you can learn one from each other. Ella Yomat Betrei Beidini Itkun, you want to tell me that why these takonas was said in two bote dinim, how could you learn from what one Beis Din said to another Beis Din said? They're two different Beis Dinim, so therefore you can't learn one from each other. So therefore it was two bote dinim. If it's two bote dinim, that means it's two different takonas, so therefore you can't say that because he promised him Yerusha and him Matana, we use a Matana for the Yerusha. The two dinim have no connection, it's two separate bote dinim. Said the Gemara, no. Mimai, how do you know this? Really, I can tell you, but really, it was two botedinim who paskened. One paskened to give bonim dichrin, and one paskened to give bonim nukvin. Ubedina basra tikun ki bedina kama. Ke'eche de loy tiksha takonta. Once one Beis Din made a takona, and then the second Beis Din came to make a similar takona for bonim nukvin, they obviously applied the takona similar to the first Beis Din. That shouldn't be a contradiction, that shouldn't be a complex to say, oh, that takona was only after the father dies, and this takona is already before, when the father's alive. It makes it complex. So it must be that even though there was two takonas, two separate botedinim, afilu achi, you can learn one from each other. How did the second Beis Din metaken it? It must be they were metaken it similar to the first Beis Din, and therefore we could learn like bonim zichrin, it's only lacha misa savim. Also bonim nikvan is only lacha misa savim, and therefore it makes sense that we learn one from each other. And afilu achi was two botedinim, and if it was two botedinim, so it's not toich kedidibel. The takonas have no connection with each other, was in separate times. So how does the bonim zichrin work? It's loshen Yerusha. Chachamim say you can't give Yerusha to one son more than each other. And you can't say we learn from the Loshen Matana, because the Loshen Matana was a different takona. Elomai, the Mishnah over there in Ksubis that says that bonim zichrin works, it must be that it's midin Rabbi Yochanan Bebroika, they could give a Yerusha to one son more than each other, and therefore Rabbi Noson Abavli's taina to Rebbe is a good taina, and therefore everything fits in place. Said the Gemara, Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Shmuel, Akoisev kol nechosav leishtoi, someone who gave all his nechosim to his wife, so her pashos, it's a matana. We're saying lo offer elo apoitrupa. The father who gave his wife all his nechosim and took it away from his kids, we assume there wasn't a proper matana that it should be all hers. It meant that it should go to her, that she should give it, she should be the one in charge, that the kid should get it. And the reason why we assume that it's only das that a person won't leave his kids and give everything to his wife. And the reason why he did it, he wanted that the kid, if he'll give it all to the kids might not have respect to his wife. The reason why he did it is that she should have respect and they should need her for the money. And therefore we assume so, and therefore the woman's mechuyev to support these kids. Said the Gemara, Pshita, it's obvious to us, B'noi HaGodol, if he gave all his nechosim to his oldest son, like we said that his wife is aporitopus, it's that to make me in charge to support his kids. So also when he gave his oldest son all the money, all his Yerusha, it means the same. And the reason is because there is a din kabedis of Icha Besimecha, and we learn from the Vav that there's a chibur to mechabed the oldest brother. And therefore, he wanted that the younger kid should be mechabed the older brother. So he gave the older brother that he should supply the younger brothers. Said the Gemara, Bnoya Koton Mai, what the din? If he gave all the nechosim to his younger son, do we say then, there's no din of Vav that the brother should mechabed him, so there's no din kibud. So therefore it must be, what's the logic they gave it to him? It must be that he wanted that this son should get everything. Or maybe do we say, no, afilu achi, he meant to give it to him that he should be a proitopus for the other brothers. Itma, we learned, Rav Chaniloi bar Idi Omar Shmuel, afilu bnoya koten amutu barisa, even if he gave all his nechosim to his youngest son that's still in his cot, afilu achi, he gave it to him within a proitopus and not a full matana that should all belong to him. Continue the Gemara and says, Pshita, it's obvious to us, bnoi, ve'acher, if he gave all his nechosim to his son, he gave all nechosim to someone who's not his son, some ploini almoini. So acher b'matona, it's obvious to us that when he gave it to acher, he gave it to him as a full matona because there's no din of cover to this acher. So we don't assume they gave it to him that he should be a proitopus for his sons. So it must be gave it to him a full matona. Ubnoi, like we said before, is a poitropos. They should be in charge for the other brothers, like we said before. Continue the Gemara after the brackets. Ishto Yarusa, if he gave all his nechosim to his wife that he's not married to her, he's only engaged to. The Ishto Grusha, to his wife that he got divorced from already. So it's obvious, b'matona, he meant it as a full present and not a proitopus to his kids, because Arusa, it's not properly his wife, so it's not because he cares about COVID. And Grusha is divorced already, so he doesn't care about his COVID, so it must be meant to give a full matona. Iboilu, says the Gemara Shaila, what's the din? Bas etzel bonim. He gave all his nechosim to his daughter when he has sons. Case number 2. The Isha etzel achim, he gave his wife all his nechosim, where he doesn't have any kids or father who yarshin him, only brothers who many yarshin him. So is the reason that he gave the wife, it's because he wants to give her a full matona, or is it because he wants that the brothers should get it from her, and they should give cover to her? And the third child is the Isha etzel b'nei abad, that he gave, he has sons from a different woman, and he gave a woman who doesn't have kids from him the Yerusha. Do we say that it's like we said by the woman, like we said earlier on, if he gives his wife, it means midin aproitopus, or he means to give her a full matona? Now, Omar Avina Mishmei Derova, Bekulu, in all these 5 cases, 2 that we said clearly, Ishto Yerusha, Ishto Grusha, that's the matona, and the other 3 cases that we had the Sofek, Loikono, it's given as a proitopus, not as a matona. Lebarmi ishte arutzo v'ishte gruso. The only first 2 cases that we said pshita that it's full matona, those are matona, but the other 3 cases is is not full matona. It's medina proitopus. Rav Avira Mishmei Rava Omar Bikulu Koni. No, they all koina a full matona. Lebarmi isha etzel achim v'isha etzel bnei abal. Except that only 2 cases that it's a din, a proitopus, it's an isha, but when he has brothers and no kids and no father, and a woman and he has kids from another woman, then it's a proitopus, but all the other ones, it's a matona. So basically, really, Rav Avira, name of Rava, is arguing on Ravina in the name of Rava, that they both, in the name of Rava, the argument's only about 1 case. In what case are they arguing? Baset Elabonim. If he gave the daughter the whole Yerusha, so Rav Avira holds that it's a matana, and Ravina holds it's a proitopus. And the Rashbam explained that the machloikis between these Amoraim in the name of Rava is in svara. Nothing more than that. It's not in a din, it's a svara. What does the person mean when he gives his daughter, when he has sons? Did he give it a full matona, or did he give it that she should be in charge on this money? Thank you very much. We should all be blessed and be zoiche to do chazara and remember the Gemara, understand it on all its levels. Thank you very much.